Welcome to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Paul Miller, and we are sitting in today with our internship coordinator, Kristin Fike, and our career services director, Steve Hassinger. We're going to be talking to everybody today about the upcoming internship fair that's going to take place on July 24th from 10 to noon in the conference center at Central Penn College. We're going to be talking today about some of the main benefits of why a student would want to go to an internship fair, some of the companies that we're going to find, and some of the benefits that, having some more hands-on experiences in your education can afford our students. Welcome, everyone, back to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And Steve, I would be remiss if I didn't always bring this up, and I'm sure you probably already know what I'm going to say, but every time Steve comes in, I always remind Steve that he was our very first podcast guest on episode number 1, but we are well over 60, so
Awesome.
Steve is certainly a podcast veteran. We're also being joined today by Sophia, an intern from Germany that's working in the Career Services Department. This is her first time ever on a podcast. So, Sophia, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
My name is Sophia Rupipa. I'm studying labor market management in Germany, and I got the chance to do an internship. So I watched the video on the Career Center website, and I just immediately applied.
Well, that's awesome. We're so glad that you're able to join us today and sit in on the Nightly News Podcast today. So we'll come back to you here in just a minute. Kristin, you're one of the people who is mainly in charge of this event. That's part of your role here is helping to put on the internship and job fairs. One of the key questions that I get, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot, because you label this an internship fair, on the surface it might appear like it's only for people that are seeking internship. But yet, I would highly argue that fact because, to be honest with you, it's not just if you're looking for internship. And really, I would even encourage those that are in their first term here at the college to go to this. Can you talk about some of the benefits for a freshman, sophomore, or junior, maybe not quite yet looking for an internship, why they might want to come to the internship fair?
Absolutely. Many, if not all, of the employers who are attending offer other opportunities, not just internships. So they do offer part-time positions, full-time positions in the students' career fields, and also volunteer opportunities. I can speak about one of the employers who's attending Conestoga View Nursing and Rehab. So they have volunteer opportunities, and they want to come specifically to talk about that. So that's just one offhand. So again, it's not just an internship fair. A lot of these companies have other opportunities that students can take advantage even from freshman year.
Well, and one of the interesting things that I always try to talk about with my students is I think so often when students come to college, they might work in retail, they might work in restaurants, and again, I know I've shared this with the listeners in the past, but I worked in the restaurant business for 20 years, so far be it from me to look down upon those. However, if you can get into a job field that you, even if it's part-time, that in the long run, you might not be making as much money as you might make in one of these other places, but long term, you're going to make way, way more money if you come out of school with that experience. So if nothing else, if students are just even looking for a part-time job to supplement their income, I think that's a great thing to do. Also, Steve, I had welcomed you into my class recently, and we talked about the volunteer requirements, hours that we need here. And you made some really, really excellent points about how students can align their volunteer experience with their career goals. Do you mind sharing with us a little bit more about that?
I would love to, absolutely. I think employers really look highly on job applicants who have volunteer experience, who have given back to the community. And, whether that's picking up trash along the highway to helping make it look nicer or whatever it might be, that community service or that volunteer work is valuable. But if you have an opportunity to do that volunteer work in a company that is related to the field of study that you're in, I think that experience is even more valuable. And I always tell students the number one complaint that I hear from new college graduates when they're looking for that first job in their field is everybody seems to want experience. And there are applicants who have experience in the field. So how do I gain experience if nobody's willing to hire me? Well, one way that you can do that is through your volunteer work. And we can put that volunteer work on their resume and treat it just like we would work experience. The second opportunity that you have is through your internship, which is definitely going to be in your career field.
Well, one of the things, too, one of the reasons that I literally just said this, I had the fortune to run into a couple of students who were checking out campus who were interested in the comm program, and I said the exact same thing. I said, one of the things that you have to do while you're in school is to try to separate yourself from everybody else, because if you don't have an internship or if you don't have community service, technically you could just leave with a degree. Not that we all need degrees. I'm not, of course, that's a major part of it, but it's what else you're bringing to the table. Because every person that's applying for that job also has a degree. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I said about some of the advantages of being here at Central Penn is not only are you required to do an internship, with which many schools do not require, it's encouraged but not required, but you also have to do this community service component. And so no matter what, if you are walking across that stage with a Central Penn degree, you at a minimum have an internship and community service hours. And that to me is one of the reasons that I really, really wanted to spend my career here, just because of the values that this institution has. And I think that that's very important. So, Kristin, back to you. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, too, is our early internship program. And as a matter of fact, this is something that I get a lot of questions about. Obviously, I'm the program coordinator for the communication department, and one of the things I'm trying to do is develop partnerships in the community. But I do get a lot of students, and I'm going to give you some feedback, and I've already talked to Steve about this as well. When we went to the CPEC job fair, one of the things that I'd found was that many of the places that were offering internships only did so over the summer, when a traditional college would be on break. Mm-hmm. And that spans 2 different of our terms, which could be problematic for some students. Mm-hmm. If students are identifying certain places that they want to intern at, and that particular business is one of those places, mm-hmm. what kind of advice do you give to them about how to try to get into an internship with one of those businesses?
Absolutely. So say if a student attended our internship fair and they talked to an employer that they were very interested in, and that employer only offers internships, say, just during the summer, what they would need to do is they would need to plan for that and apply for what we call an early internship. So in order to be considered for an early internship, you have to be at least 3/4 of the way, 75% through your program. So if you're in a bachelor's degree program, that means you've completed 90 of your 124 credits. And you also have to be at a 3.0 GPA. So again, that's something that you need to plan for. And if you find an employer who you love and you absolutely want to do an internship with them, you need to work hard to, do well in your classes and meet that GPA requirement and apply for an early internship.
And that's one of the things, too, that I've actually really tried to bring to the table in communications is we're trying to get students out when it's, number one, most convenient for them and their schedule. That's one of the most tricky parts, is trying to figure out between the classes they still need to take, when they're going to take internship, how that schedule is going to work with their course schedule. So sometimes it is tricky to balance all those things, but the value to me, and I've already had the opportunity of seeing it a couple of times, people going out on early internship and then coming back to the college and being able to talk about the hands-on experiences that they had at those organizations. So that brings me to another question about the hands-on aspect of this internship fair. One of the things that I got, especially from CPEC, I took my class there as a class assignment, and I'm going to do the same at the internship fair, was that every single student, when they walked out of there, told me they felt so much more comfortable after that one time. Can you talk about why even a freshman would be interested and it would benefit them all the way up to a junior or senior going to this internship fair?
Absolutely. First of all, it gives you practice. Practice makes perfect in this aspect. So it gives you practice in being in front of employers and just talking to them about what opportunities they have. It's different than, sitting in front of the classroom and talking to your professor. So again, it just gives you the practice and helps you feel more comfortable as you gain experience doing it. There's one aspect that we are adding to the internship fair this year that's a little bit different. We're going to be including a scavenger hunt that's a part of the fair. And our students who participate in that, that's just going to get them more involved within the fair. They will be posting to our social media. And the students who participate in that, we are going to choose a random winner, and they will win some CPC gear. So it's a great opportunity to just get out there in front of employers, practice their speaking skills, and have a little fun while they're doing it.
Well, one of the things, too, that I always try to get across to the students is how important that practice is. But, Steve, on another hand, and the practice component, very important, but on another hand, when a student, let's say a freshman or a sophomore student comes in, and they know that they're interested in legal studies or communications or business, but they're not really sure where their niche is. Can you talk about how an internship fair might actually help them find or set them on the proper path for their future career?
Absolutely. So it's a great opportunity to talk to various employers about different types of job opportunities within that field and different types of internship opportunities. And, even though we say students have to do one academic internship towards the end of their education, we have students who do multiple internship opportunities, which puts them ahead of even other job seekers who have done one internship. But I think the real value there in just talking to the different employers about the different opportunities that exist is learning more about the options that are available to them. We often have a saying in our office where we say, well, we don't know what we don't know. And unless you've gotten out there and you've talked to employers and you find out about the different opportunities that are available, you might have a limited view of those opportunities that are available in your career field. So it's really valuable to learn as much as you can about different types of opportunities and maybe doing some additional internship opportunities or community service opportunities to kind of test drive those jobs.
In addition, one of the initiatives that we have done over the last term was the job shadowing.
Right.
And recently we had in the class that I required the job shadow, the presentations, and I have to tell you, every single person, without a doubt, said that it was an amazing benefit to have that hands-on experience. Now, not every single one, and I actually had a couple people say, you know what, I did this, not really for me, but that's the whole point of a job shadow. Do you think that any of these individuals at the internship fair would be open to doing job shadowing as well, even if you just want to check it out and see what the position's all about?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's so valuable to learn what you don't want to do in addition to what you do want to do, because that helps things come into more focus for you in terms of what you do want to do. And it's much more valuable to go out and do a job shadow and to realize, wow, that job isn't at all what I thought it was going to be, because you only spent a few hours or a few days, maybe at the very most, doing your job shadowing. That's better than starting that job and a week after you've been hired saying, oh my, I don't want to do this.
Well, and to be honest with you, this is all part of finding the right position for you. I mean, when I first started in college, I never would have thought that I was going to be a professor, and it was, I really, now that I think back, I wish I probably would have done a job shadow because I would have had a lot more perspective about what I would be getting myself into. But I think that all of these things are very valuable, but they're only valuable if, yes, we're requiring them in communication in this one particular class, but if you don't, and maybe you're in another major where they're not required, I think sometimes people just think, I don't really need to do something like that. I want to get testimonials from all of these individuals about the job shadow and about what they did. They all really appreciated it. And I get the same feedback with internship. Mm-hmm. I really do. And even in the community service element of it as well, I think that just going out and putting yourself out there and trying some different things and seeing what you're passionate about really is going to make a profound impact on your future career. Well, Kristin, could you share with us some of the companies and maybe even some of the majors that the internship fair will present?
Absolutely. At this point, we have 15 employers registered for the fair, and we're definitely hoping to double that. We just started getting invitations out over the past few weeks, so it's still early, but we have 15 companies registered. So just to give you a snapshot of who has been registered so far, and these employers span across all of our different programs. So TW Ponessa Associates Counseling, that would work within our criminal justice program. PSCCU is a large employer. PennDOT, the PA Office of the Budget. H&R Block, Geisinger Holy Spirit, and Dauphin County Information Technology.
Well, that's a very good snapshot. And as best as you can tell, all different majors are going to be represented there in some fashion. Well, that's wonderful. The fact that basically any opportunity for any of our students is to come to this internship fair, at a minimum, get some experience. And beyond that, maybe set up a job shadow, maybe set up some volunteering, maybe even a part-time job. So even if you're not looking for an internship, or even if internship's still a few terms away, this is at least going to expose you to the positions that are available out in the job field whenever you go to apply. Mm-hmm. Now, Steve, I would be remiss if I didn't at least ask you to explain some of the other services outside of having these wonderful events that you do quarterly on campus. Can you talk, what are some of the other services that Career Services offer our students while they're current students and after they graduate for life?
Absolutely. So we offer what I call the nuts and bolts of job and internship searching. So that is resumes, cover letters, interviewing skills. We can do mock interviews to help students practice their interviewing skills. If we have a student who is not sure of what they want to do, we have an assessment called Focus that we can use with them, and based on who they are, it tells them these are some good career paths that look like they would be a good fit for you. Sophia just did that yesterday, as a matter of fact, and we found out that we have very similar profiles, which I guess is why she's here interning with Career Services and enjoying it. We provide assistance to them after they graduate. So if it's 2 years down the road, 5 years, 10 years down the road, and they're changing jobs, they just need their resume brushed up. They need to practice interviewing skills because they haven't interviewed for a long time. We can absolutely provide those services to them. We can also connect with our students and our alumni through a variety of means. So if they're not available to come into the office and sit down face-to-face with us, we will connect with them via email, via phone, through Blackboard Collaborate, online, virtually, through Skype if they want to connect through Skype. So they can remain connected to Career Services however and whenever they want.
Fantastic. Any final comments about the internship fair before we move on?
Absolutely. Just to reiterate what Stephen mentioned about the different services that we offer within our office, there are a few of those services that are going to help you prepare for the internship fair. Most specifically, we are requiring students to dress professionally to attend this event. So if our students do not have professional dress available to them, we have what we call our professional closet within our Career Resource Center that has clothing, professional clothing for both men and women. So if a student is concerned about that, they do not have something to wear, they come into our office and we can see what we have available for them. That is free for our students to take. Also, we are recommending that students have their resume available at the internship fair to provide to employers. Again, we can help students through that process. If they have never developed one, we can start from the beginning. If they have one developed and they need it, tweaked or just looked at, we can absolutely help with that.
And you usually ask for appointments, correct? If they do want to come in and meet about these things? Absolutely.
We do prefer that they, set up an appointment. That way we can give them the time that we need to dedicate to it. If they just have to stop in, that's fine. We'll rearrange and do what we can. But just so they know that, for the details for this internship fair, we're here to support them.
Well, last question here. I want to bring Sophia into this. Sophia, can you tell us a little bit more about the process of you ending up here at Central Penn College, being from Germany? How did this all come together? Was it a program through your institution, your university? Give us a little bit of background information.
So I study labor market management for almost 2 years. And we had this chance to do an internship abroad. And I was very interested in internships. And then I just Googled and I found this university. And I was really interested because I saw the video that is on the career service website, and there was listed what they do. And actually, I do the same things or the similar things, but I work most of the time with people that are older than 40 and who had an education, who already had a job, who have now like employment issues, and I help them with writing resumes, or I plan with them a new education. Then I just found the website and I applied immediately, and I'm very happy that I'm here today.
And how long are you in town for?
I'm here for 6 weeks.
6 weeks, and this is your third day, and no one's scared you off yet, so that's good.
And Paul, if I could add to that, we did not advertise an internship. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is a good point for students as well. Okay, so when they come to the internship fair and maybe they don't find exactly what they were looking for advertised as an internship. Sophia found us. She said, I'm really interested in that. I'd really like the opportunity to go there. She has a relative in the Harrisburg area, so it worked well. So she reached out to me. She contacted me from Germany via an email and provided her CV, her resume with it, and some documentation about the internship, and said, I would really like this opportunity to come work with you. And we explored it from there. So students don't have to think about only an advertised internship. If there's an organization that they want an internship with, they can reach out to that organization.
Well, and you even put me in touch with a situation where we basically did the same thing, and we wrote an internship for a student, and so these things are possible.
Right.
So yeah, again, Steve, excellent point. It's not just about the ones that are advertised; it's about the connections you have and the foresight that you have to reach out to some of these organizations. Well, I will tell you what. Please, everybody, mark on your calendars. July 24th. That's a Tuesday from 10 to noon in the Conference Center of the ATEC building will be our internship fair. Of course, you'll see Steve Hassinger, the Career Services Director, Kristin Fike, the internship coordinator, and many other individuals on campus. I will be there. I will lend a helping hand in any way I can, and I'm going to bring my class down as well. Faculty, you're certainly encouraged to bring your classes as well. Is there a registration process for students or even faculty that want to bring their classes?
Registration is not required, but it is recommended. So if students pre-register with me, which they can contact me by phone, email, or stop by, if they pre-register with me, I will have name tags available for them. So that's just going to help them as they're making their way around the internship fair to say who they are, what major they're from. So again, it's not required, but it is recommended to register.
Fantastic. Well, we are very much looking forward to the internship fair, and I promise my class will be there, and I certainly hope that we can get some of our other classes to join us. And bottom line, if you're looking for an internship, you got to be there, to be perfectly honest with you. But if you're not, gives you great practice, gives you great networking ability. You might find a volunteer opportunity, a job shadow, maybe even a part-time job. So there are all types of benefits to coming to an internship fair, even if you're not ready to go on internship just yet. Mm-hmm. So, okay, well, I would just like to thank you guys all for being here today.
Thank you for your support, Paul.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being an intern and coming. You win from coming the furthest to ever be on this podcast. Because usually it's all I was, down the street, and we have people, that sometimes are a little late walking 10 minutes, and you're coming from another continent. So, Sophia, we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
All right, so for intern Sophia, for internship coordinator Kristin Fike, and for Career Services Director Steve Hassinger, this is Professor Paul Miller, and we'll catch you next time on the Nightly News Podcast.
Hey, this is Sai Pinthong. Thank you for listening to the Nightly News Podcast.
Welcome back to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Paul Miller sitting in today with our favorite guest of every single month, Adrienne Thoman, Student Activities Director. Adrienne, welcome back to the podcast.
I love that introduction. Thanks for having me.
Well, of course. I mean, you're the one that's telling us what's going on around here because, as you know, and this is not just a Central Penn thing, but students need things to do, and they need to be coerced into doing things outside of their dorm rooms and getting out and getting onto the campus and getting in touch with people, meeting people. So it's always really awesome to have you on and discuss some of the amazing things that you do. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, you always, every month we're looking at this and it's always jam-packed. So we really, really appreciate the hard work that you put into this to make sure our students have no reason to say there's nothing to do here on campus. Right, Adrienne?
Absolutely. And I appreciate, I think for you and I, when we think back to college and those memories that we have, obviously what happens in the classroom is super important. But when we think of the friends that we made and the memories that we had, like a lot of this external stuff is pretty darn meaningful.
Without a doubt. I mean, a lot of the people that I ended up long-term being friends with outside of the college, yes, some of them were my dorm mates my freshman year, but as I went on, a lot of the people were people who I met outside of the classroom, whether that was with the radio station or whether that was doing other activities on campus. A lot of the people that I'd met I would have never met and made forged long-term relationships with if it wasn't for some of the activities that we had on campus. So bottom line is get involved. I mean, you don't have to do every single thing on this, but Adrienne puts the calendar out in plenty of time. Just circle a few things that you want to do and that you want to have goals to get out. And we're going to talk about many different events on the July calendar. Adrienne, what we always wanted to start off with, especially at the beginning of the term, is really welcoming everybody back. I know that our breaks are a little shorter, but and even for our new students, this is a whole new experience. So you have something, and you always do something every term called Welcome Week, where you put together a wide variety of different activities, opportunities for food, and if nothing else, opportunities to get out, learn more about the campus. So what do you have on tap for July's Welcome Week? And this will be from the week of Monday, July 9th, through the 13th, the Friday, the 13th.
So literally every day has something, some opportunity for our new students or our returning students to connect with us. Maybe the new student is not sure what room they're going to next, or they're not sure what building their class is in. And sometimes it's a little intimidating to ask those questions. So guess what? We have random opportunities to come grab food, and I can check in with you and hopefully, if you need information, get it to you and make sure you're starting your week out with just amazing success. So day one is new student orientation. I'm not a part of that, but our Res Life department does an incredible job putting that together. Tuesday, we do cookies and a Coke. We do that around lunchtime and then again in the evening. And again, it's just a station. Come and grab some cookies, grab some soda, check in, let me know what you need, and if we can help you out, we will.
Well, that was what I wanted to bring up, especially with some of these things that you're just in the lobby. Mm-hmm. What if somebody just has some questions and they could come up and find you, and even if you can't answer the question, you'll find somebody that will, right?
Absolutely. I always tell the students that I may not, and I probably won't always know the answer.
Well, you can't be expected to know the answer to every single question someone might ask you. I mean,
but I will do my best to help them find the answer to their question. So even if it's something totally unrelated to student activities, you just stop, grab your cookie, grab your soda, and you ask me that question, and we're going to find that answer for you.
Perfect.
Wednesday is a summer club fair. So that is, we do free wings and French fries, and we have the opportunity for all of our active student clubs to recruit new members and share what they're doing with the general campus population. It's usually a lot of fun. We're well fed. It's good stuff.
Summer club fair. Well, really all the club fairs are really an amazing opportunity for us. Obviously, we're with the Nightly News here, and this is one of the rare opportunities that all the clubs have to get together, and really it's great for new students or even students that may have been here for a couple terms and still aren't quite sure what clubs are out there for them. Adrienne, one of the things that I constantly have to talk about with my students is it is so important to get involved in something. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, and you know what? I have students that get involved in everything, and that's wonderful, but at least be involved in something. We have, 19 different clubs that we have here on campus, and I always hear people talking about maybe starting new ones. Just please get involved in something, anything. It doesn't matter. And to be perfectly honest, even if you're an online student listening to this, even if you're an evening student, all of our clubs really try to reach out to all of those populations and try to get those individuals involved as well. So it's not just a club for those people who live on campus.
Correct.
In fact, in the Nightly News, I wouldn't say more than maybe half of our students are on campus, and we do have some evening and online students that check in with us as well. So please make sure that you take advantage of what we do have to offer here to get a more enriching experience from your college life. What else do we have during Welcome Week, Adrienne?
So Thursday is lunchtime bingo. So just an opportunity to kind of chill out in the caf and have play some bingo, win some prizes, a little mental break because, you made it how many days into the term. And then Friday, we do our end of week 1 pancake party, which is basically just celebrating that we made it through that first week, 1 down and 10 to go. And we make pancakes in the lobby.
Well, we all appreciate everything that you do during Welcome Week, and we really appreciate the opportunities, not only for that you allow the clubs to get out in front of the students, but also that you have a really cool breakfast available for them on Friday of week 1. So we do appreciate everything that you do as far as that goes, Adrienne. All right, Welcome Week. It's going to start the Tuesday the 10th with cookies and a Coke. We'll have the club fair on the 11th. We'll have a lunchtime bingo on the 12th and the end of week 1 pancake party on the 13th. So a lot of action going on our first week back to campus in July. Adrienne, we're going to move on to the next thing that I wanted to chat about with you, and it's the cornhole tournament that's going to take place July 16th. That's a Monday from 3 to 5 p.m. in the Quad. If you would like to, you will compete in pairs, and you will email Adrienne Thoman at centralpenn.edu to sign up. Last year, we had a really cool and successful cornhole tournament, but this year, the Nightly News is going to come back again. Last year, 2 of the Nightly News members actually won the cornhole tournament, of course, President Brian Christiana and Vice President Ian Kemmerer, and we had a surprise final, if you will, where the Nightly News put up $25 to see if they could beat us, and that was myself and a mystery partner, which just so happened to be Curtis Volker. We did win, but honestly, we ended up giving the gentleman a gift card anyway. So we're laying down that gauntlet again. So if you would like to challenge... now, this will not be on the 16th. This will be at a time later date. So the champion team can set up a opportunity to take on myself and a mystery opponent, and it may or may not be Curtis again. I may find somebody else, but actually Curtis was the ringer in that situation, so I'm glad that he was there. But so we're putting that out there too. For obviously, you have prizes that are just for your thing, but we're also going to come and we're going to do something as well for the winners.
I love it. That was such an intense competition last year. You really were like right to the end, and Ian and Brian were just talking it up there.
And it's funny because it was just something for fun to do. I mean, I enjoy playing in my spare time, and it's just something fun. I think it's a really cool opportunity. It was too bad that we had to do it indoors, but it all ended up working out very well, and so I really hope we get a good turnout for the cornhole tournament, and then those individuals who win, we'll chat with them later about doing something after the fact against myself and a mystery opponent. So that will be July 16th. So please make sure you get in touch with Adrienne if you're interested in that. All right, one more thing I wanted to chat with you about before we get to Adrienne's featured 3, and that's going to be on July the 25th. One of the common hours for this term, the Equal Nights present Being GLBT in the Workforce. That will be July the 25th during Common Hour, 12:10 to 1:10, and that will be in ATEC 200. What can you tell us about this Common Hour, Adrienne?
So I'm really excited about the Equal Nights and the leadership they've taken with this event. They're working with the LGBT Center in downtown Harrisburg. Amanda Arbor is their executive director. She's going to be coming here and helping to lead this panel discussion. Certainly being LGBT in the workforce presents a series of challenges, and this panel is designed to share tips and talk through some of that, and our laws in Pennsylvania are not quite where they should be in that regard. So I think it's an important discussion to be had, and Amanda's going to be filling us in on all that good stuff too. So,
and not even that. I mean, to be honest, one of the things that I always talk about in my classes is the importance of diversity in the workplace, and the odds of us, no matter where we stand on the LGBT spectrum, the odds of us being in the workplace with those who identify in that manner, I think, is something that as college students we should prepare for now, no matter where you stand. And I think that this is something that's going to be very helpful for the college students at large, and how they're going to be prepared for this when they enter into the workforce.
And it can be something so simple to be inclusive of everyone, even something, maybe, I don't know if you have on your cube pictures of your family or pictures of a significant other, right? So we naturally assume...
I don't, but maybe I should.
Maybe. But we naturally assume, this heteronormative society that we have that, is that your wife or is that your husband based on gender? And really that's not the case. It could be as easy as saying, I always say honey bunny because I'm silly like that, but, do you have a honey bunny? Trying to use language that doesn't necessarily force the person to identify one way or the other. It leaves it open.
Right, and I love that. Just real quick before we move on from the common hours, are there any other common hours that you have coming up that you have planned that you would like to at least preview at this point?
We have quite a good lineup coming up. I do want to bring up on the July 18th, we have Trish Robinson coming in, and she's going to be doing something on self-image, self-esteem. I think it's going to be really powerful for our students here on campus. So that's another one that I think will be worthwhile. But we're working on getting that schedule set for the rest of the year, and we have a lot of good opportunities coming in.
Fantastic. I appreciate the opportunities to do common hours, to come to them, to involve them in my coursework, whether it's just offering extra credit or writing an assignment around doing it. I think it's wonderful, and we really appreciate the efforts that you put in on the common hour too. Well, Adrienne, before we get into Adrienne's feature 3, I did just want to touch on something really cool for our SGA that's going on Friday, July 20th, and Saturday, July the 21st. You're going to be taking them to the APCA conference in New York City. Let's hear a little bit more about that.
I love being able to give our student leaders the opportunity to grow their leadership skills, get them off campus, hear from amazing speakers and trainings. And, luckily earlier in the year, the APCA is the Association for the Promotion of Campus Activities. Earlier in the year, I was able to take our activities advisory board to a conference that was in Hershey and see all kinds of different performers and speakers that they could bring here to Central Penn College. Now, APCA is planning a leadership-based conference in New York City, and we're going to be taking our SGA officers, our student government officers, and I just can't wait. I think it's going to be such a great learning opportunity for them. The speakers that will be there will be incredible, and really give them an opportunity to build their skill set in New York City, which will be super fun.
Adrienne, that's really cool what you're trying to do with SGA. They are also in the middle of an amazing initiative, which we are going to talk much more about that on a future podcast where we're going to welcome President Morgan Littleford and Vice President Isaiah Scott down to the podcast studio to talk more about this. But we are starting during the summer term a food pantry here on campus, which is so unique and I really think needed. I guess it was even my first couple of terms here till I realized how food insecure a lot of our students are who are living on campus. And it's such a wonderful initiative. Can you just tell us a little bit about where this came from and whose idea this was, how this all got started?
So it's been something that, SGA has been kind of kicking around and talking about for a little while. There's always been that concern of toward the end of the term when those Scoozy or night and day cafe dollars are running out, making sure our students have something to eat. And of course, this isn't just something or a benefit for our residential students. This is going to be something that's going to be open to the college as a whole because our commuters and evening students and CE students and online students, it's not just a residential issue. It's something we want to make sure that all of our students have access to food and the ability to be, full bellies ready to do whatever they're doing for their coursework.
And what's interesting, too, if the students aren't eating, it's much more difficult to produce quality work. Mm-hmm. And that was something that I really had my eyes open to. So I think that's just a wonderful initiative, Adrienne, and I certainly hope that in any way, not only myself, but the Nightly News can help at least get the word out. And to be perfectly honest with you, we've already thrown around some ideas about doing some kind of food drive or fundraiser or something for this food pantry in the fall. So we would definitely like to chat with you a little bit more about that. And we are 100% on board with this. I think it's a wonderful initiative. So
I'm very proud of SGA and how they are so dedicated to making this happen. They've really done an amazing job. And I'm really proud to say that I work at a college where it's been so supported by the administrators. Our new president, Dr. Fedrizzi, has been supportive of it every step of the way. Romeo and the committee that's being created to make sure that this is something that gets put in place and then is able to remain consistent.
Right.
It's just been supported across the board. So it makes me really happy to say that.
SGA is doing wonderful things. And the advisor of the SGA again is?
Oh, that's me.
Of course. I knew that. I was just throwing you a softball there. All right, well, now it's time for everybody's favorite segment, and that is Adrienne's featured 3 events for the month of July. Adrienne, what is the first event on Adrienne's featured 3 that you'd like to talk about?
Oh, well, we're talking about SGA, so I'm going to start with them because they are planning their annual summer pool party. And this is a big, big event for them. There's going to be some kind of inflatable. They're trying to decide now if it's going to be a water slide or a bounce house or whatever, but there's going to be something fun and amazing there. They had a DJ Bub is going to be doing the music. Tons of food. PSECU is going to be sponsoring that. There'll be some great prizes from PSECU. And all of the clubs get involved in it in one way or another. Drama Club, the Central Penn Players will be there. They typically do their Pie a Player fundraiser, so be ready for that. I hope I don't have to get pied. The Colleges Against Cancer, they typically do a cake, and all of the clubs get involved in some way, and it's so much fun.
We hope that this doesn't happen. What about if there are weather concerns?
There will be no rain.
Okay, there will be no rain, and there you have it. All right, Adrienne, what is the second event on Adrienne's featured 3?
Second event is going to be Monday the 30th. Whitewater rafting. Now, we did this last year, and it was so fun. We have to do it again. We try to keep the cost super affordable. It's just $15 for our students. The rest of the cost is sponsored by the Student Activities Office, and it is so fun. Like, I was so scared because I had never done it before last year, and getting on that raft and the rapids, it was a blast, and we had such a great group of students. Really good trip. So I would definitely encourage everyone to sign up for that.
Limited spots on that, right, Adrienne?
Yes.
And when is the cutoff for registration for the whitewater rafting
when
trip?
the space in the van runs out.
And there you have it. So you do make a note on the calendar to look for a link in Student Central during week 2. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. All right. The third and final event in Adrienne's featured 3 for the month of July is...
This is an activity that is being planned by our Activities Advisory Board, the Free Money Game Show. Now, when they went to the APCA conference in Hershey earlier this year, they got to actually try it out. Our SGA president and AAB member, Morgan Littleford, she got to go on stage and try the game. It is so fun. It's like trivia questions, and you actually win cash as part of it. I think she won over $100.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like walked away from it. It was so much fun. She was really good at it.
Could you give us an idea of... Is there a game show that it's like? Just so we can kind of envision this?
Oh my goodness. She had like a buzzer, and there'd be like a question, and she'd have to buzz before everybody else.
Okay.
I don't know what that
sort of like
compares to.
Jeopardy?
Sort of, but with fun questions that people know the answers to.
There's fun questions on Jeopardy.
I never know the answers on Jeopardy, okay?
Well, that's really cool. So the students have an opportunity to win money. I mean, how can every student on campus not be there
I know.
for that?
It's going to be great.
And this is going to be the first time that we're doing something like that. Is this going to be like an every term type of thing? Maybe a once a year type of thing?
I hope, as of right now, AAB has kind of already lined up the performers that they're bringing in. So they have them Free Money Game Show just scheduled once this year. But I think everybody's going to have a blast with it. I would not be surprised if we see it again.
Cool. I appreciate it. We always get the first word on a lot of the events here on campus. And Adrienne, I just have to thank you so much. I do want to do a quick recap of some of the things we talked about. During the first week of the term, July 9th through the 13th, is Welcome Week with Cookies and a Coke on July the 10th, Club Fair on July 11th, Lunchtime Bingo on July 12th, and the Pancake Breakfast on July 13th. We also talked about the Cornhole Tournament. Register with Adrienne Thoman at centralpenn.edu, and that's going to take place on July 16th in the quad from 3 to 5, but you do have to register. We also talked about the Common Hour series on the 18th with Trish Robinson, and on the 25th with the Equal Nights being GLBT in the workforce. Both of those will be 1210 starts. Both of those will be in ATEC 200. And of course, Adrienne's featured 3. The first event was July 26th, the SGA pool party from 6 to 9. Event number 2, whitewater rafting on July 30th. You do have to register. Space is limited. Again, email Adrienne Thoman at centralpenn.edu or look for the link in Student Central. And last but not least, on Tuesday, July 31st, the AAB presenting the Free Money Game Show in the theater at 7 p.m. So an action-packed month for our first month back of the summer term. It's looking to shape up to be another wonderful summer term on the activities calendar, all thanks to Student Activities Director Adrienne Thoman. Adrienne, thank you so much for all of your hard work and your efforts to making the students feel comfortable here on campus, making sure they're fed, and most importantly, networking with other students, other faculty and staff, getting out and getting involved.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and share all this stuff with you guys.
I just appreciate that you're still willing to come back after all this time, because you do come back once a month, and I'm just so happy that we have this opportunity to talk more about what's going on campus. So, all right, well, for Student Activities Director Adrienne Thoman, this is Professor Paul Miller, and we will catch you next time on the Nightly News Podcast.